All right, art students, welcome back to another action pose tutorial. All right, so I'm going to start out with the fast motion, and I'm going to put the time up of how long it takes in the fast motion. So if you just want to skip to the actual slow motion drawing lesson, you can. But, I enjoy kind of like seeing how stuff comes together. So just me personally. So the goal of this is to not only just teach you how to draw, but teach you to draw better and to show you how easy it is to draw. And you can take these drawings or these steps and then change these steps and turn it into any type of drawing or any type of action position. It's really simple once you get it down and you know the basic 3 steps. 3 pieces. And the 3 pieces are your torso, your hips, your torso, your waist, and your hips. Those are the hardest ones to do. And once you get those turned, twisted, and balanced, then the rest of the drawing comes out really good. So let me tighten up my glasses and get started with this tutorial. Okay, so here comes the fast speed motion. All right, so I'm going to hold it right there. I kind of like what I got so far, but I want to give the impression that he is like pulling these things really tight, and I might spread the legs out a little bit more. I'm going to do that off camera at the end of the video. So with that said, let's jump into how I did this and point out some of the pointers that I need to point out. All right, so torso is an oval. So the one thing that you should know, if you ever bend your character forward, if he bends forward, like he's gonna bend over and pick up something, you have your collarbone. Let me draw everything. Your collarbone, your chest, and your mountain, which is your stomach, is in there. Okay, so this is your rib cage is stacked on top. Center line, delt, which you know. So these are the first lines that I do. I do like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Now you can do that in any order except this one, and this one should be 1 and 2. This could be 3, 4, and 5, but you just want to get those lines there, and that gives you the shape and the form of your chest, your torso. So right here, and where this line connects and this line connects here, put a line, and with this one and this one I put a line too, and that's where you turn your chest. That's where the chest turns at. You do that and you pretty much get your torso right every time. And then of course you have your collarbone, put a V right here. That's gonna be where your neck goes. When it hits this circle here, you bring your neck up, you put your head anywhere on here, and then once you get your delts, which are gonna come off of here, you add as much shoulder as you need. So right off the bat, you've got your torso, and this is going to be facing you. Now the difference is when you take this person and you lean them forward, this is not going to be straight anymore. Actually, your collarbones are kind of shaped like that, like a bicycle handle. But that's when you want to get really, I'm gonna be a professor and I'm gonna teach kind of, stuff. But for comic books, we do what we do. So when he bends forward, this actually goes into a V. Okay, so that means this point right here where the neck was and went up now has to drop down here. And it won't go all the way up here and your neck goes up. It goes up just enough, and then you put your head on. Hopefully you saw that. So let me do that again. So this is your collarbone, takes a V. Your neck is still going to be wherever that center line is, the center is, that's where your neck is going to start. So here's my chest. Here's my delt. And so here's my shoulders, okay? So that V in the neck is going to come right here and go up wherever you want it to go up. And then you put your head into it. Now you can put your head high up. You can put your head real low, so like he's crouching. Put your head like real low. All right, so we're gonna bend this guy over. So we've got the collarbone. So because he's bent over, this is gonna drop down too. This is not gonna be straight across. Usually I'll put a little curve like that because this part of the chest is more heavy like that. So this is when the person is standing up. Now when he bends down, you're gonna put that curve because this is a ball. The whole thing is like a circle. And then you have stripes around the circle. But when you take that circle and you roll it over, it's gonna be like this. So that's the same thing. Everything on there is gonna be round. It's gonna start rounding off. And even though this is more of a triangle, because this is going to go down. This came down, so this chest has to come down. So you'll see less of this. This won't be all the way down. You'll see less of it because it's rolling over. Let me see if the little guy, if I can use him as a good example. Collarbone straight across, basically. As he leans down, that collarbone takes on a V. You see the light hitting it. It takes a V. You see how much of this you see? As you lean forward, you see less and less of it, okay? So that's just something you have to remember. It gives you that illusion of leaning over, bending over. And then, of course, your stomach is going to come around too. And I'll just take this same line and I'll just come off a little bit and go back on that same line. If I had my blue pencil, which is right here. So I'll say this is going to be my ab right here. And I'll stick on that same line and I'll just bring the ab down a little bit. And I'll go down like again. And then that'll be my abs. And that gives you that illusion that the guy is leaning over. So once you have this circle here, you're going to have to put your love handles, and your love handles are not going to go straight down. This guy doesn't have any love handles. They're not going to go straight down because he's not straight up and down. They're going to kind of go back and become shorter as well. So I'm going to put them here, and this is going to go in to your crotch. So I'm going to put the love handles in, make them like a little shorter. All right, art students, I'm back. My camera actually died, ran out of power, 100% power, just ran out. So it stopped right where I was. So let's pick back up on where we were, if I can remember. So we have this part here, the crotch, and this is the shape, basically your love handles in right there, and then you end up with your hips, but your legs actually come up in here, and your buttocks is right back behind there. So we just usually draw the whole thing as one. So, and this is why your legs are shaped like this, to fit into that space. And then your buttocks, which are back behind here. And sometimes you will see some of this, I don't know what you want to call that, this little dip back here, but depending on the angle that you see, the curves from the buttocks, from the back, from the front, from the back. Yeah, depends on how much or the angle that you draw. Drawing, as I say, is a lot of depends. It's not just one thing. If you're doing a comic book, you can't just draw everybody this way or that way. There's lots of twists and turns and stuff that you have to make your mood, to make your position look realistic. Okay, so going back, got to do the house. So that's just easier to do the rest of this hip part. And then connect the legs. And there was a time when I never did this, and my characters were always short, and I'm like, I'm missing something, but I couldn't figure it out. So oval, it depends on, again, how dramatic you want to make it. You can spread the legs a little wider, or you can bring them in. Again, depends on the positioning. I'm going to bring his out more. And then that little muscle, it's a big muscle, division. Then your knees. And you have to watch how long you make something. Again, it depends on, grabbing my little man, your angle of your person. If the person is right there in front of you, you're going to give him his full length, 6 foot, 7 foot, 5 foot, whatever. But when he starts to lean forward or part of it goes back, then it shortens. So that you just have to remember, the shorter you make it, the more it's going to actually lean back. And another way you can do or tell if you're drawing, or the perspective in your drawing, is by looking at, a lot of times, the waist, the feet, even though it could be in an action position. Majority of the time, your feet are going to be on the ground. Your feet are going to be set on that ground. You might have 1 foot up, but 1 foot has got to be set on that ground. Now, if you are seeing, let's give you an example, like the waist. The waist, if I drew a belt and the guy was standing in front of me, it would look like that. Let's just say, okay, here's the buckle of the belt. So there's the belt. Okay, here's your shorts. But if I look at that belt, or that, just stick with the belt. If I look at that belt and I'm seeing this, that means I'm above that person. If I'm looking at the belt and I see this, that means I'm below the eye line of the person. That I'm above the eye line. Or this is above the eye line, this is below the eye line. So it kind of tells you how that person is. So like this, it would be going around like that. So you're above it. This is the eye line right here. So I'm seeing above the eye line. Same thing with the foot. If the foot is flat on the ground, it's probably down here. The eye line is probably down there. If you see more of the toe like hanging out, you're going to be above, and my leg comes up like this. Draw a foot, Brian. Then you're going to be seeing more of, you're above that eye line, because you're seeing this. If he's got some kind of shackle or whatever around his foot, or a nice boot on, and it's becoming a circle like that, then you definitely, and you're seeing down into it, you're definitely above the eye line. So you have to go to the point, you have to lift the body up to the point where you would see something that's kind of flat like this. Even though he's leaning down, that's another indication, because that could be round and you're looking down into it. You go to a point where you're seeing something that's going to be flat, and then you're saying, oh, okay, so there's the eye line. So this whole thing would probably be above the eye line. The eye line could be like here somewhere. So once you get that, then you can put whatever object next to that person, because you know where your eye line is. All right, jumping off of that subject, getting back to this subject. So we have that, and as I say, you have to determine how long your legs are, because if I wanted to bring his leg back, like he was running, I would just make a shorter oval like that. And then maybe if I wanted to show some calf, just part of a circle like that. It's very simple. These shapes are very simple. And then I could put his foot right here, just the front of his foot right there. And he could be running. I could put the other part of the shin down here. And then he would be running again. Or he would still be running, but that's just, yeah, that's just an extra part of running. So by just doing a little things, adding little things, you can change any position. As long as you have this right, the torso right, then you're good to go. All right, let me finish this up real quick because I'm now probably going to be in 40-some, into the 40-some minutes of drawing. So my knees are going to be at the end. I don't put the knee like right here. I bring my knee into it a little bit, just in case it's a little too long. Then I can kind of shorten it a little bit, because you can always drop that knee down to make it longer if need be. But I'll put it in there, and then, as I said, I don't know if it was this video or the other video, because this is like 2 days I haven't worked on this because I was doing some other stuff. When you have your knee, let's just say this is the knee, that line, that shin bone is going to be right there on the side, and then you're going to have that calf that comes down like that, and then you're going to have the other part of the leg right there. So whenever I do my knee, that line comes down, especially if it's kind of straight at you. So we got that knee, and then that line comes down right there. And again, it might be bent slightly like this guy is, so it won't be all the way long. So I can position this guy. So it's just going to be shortened just a bit. Now, you notice that took on some shadow right here when I bent that. Let's see if it was just me or if it was true. So that's another way you can show people that something is going behind because of the shadow, because it is picking up the shadow from what's above it. Okay, so you're just slightly shortening that shape. Now, if it was all the way back, then you would have it way up here. So the more something goes back, the higher it's going to be on that last piece that you just drew. Just like when I drew this up here and I drew this calf, it's way up into that leg. And then again, you're curving this around to show that you are above this. You're looking down at it. 138, what is 138? Is probably something, I don't know. My eraser broke. I told you these things, they're good in the beginning, but once you start drawing on them, they suck. I don't know why they made it like that. That was a fatal mistake. So if you're trying to buy pencil erasers, try to find one that is not shaped like that, because they last not long enough. So let me do this. And then that foot, and the foot is not flat like this on the ground. You're going to see that how it comes out. And the more of a point you have somewhat, then the more you're looking down on that foot. AKA, if I use this guy, foot. See, it's flat. Let me get them both flat. They are both, where's the camera? They are both sort of flat. And then the more I'm looking down on him, the more those feet are going to have that point. You're going to see more and more of that point as it lengthens out. Okay, again, flat. But you can see some of the bottom, so it's not exactly flat on the camera. That is more flat. And then as it lengthens, or as your camera rotates above this guy, or your eye line rotates above this guy, it becomes that point. So that is also another indication of where your eyeliner is going to be. Perspective. All right, so we have that. I'm going to rush this a little bit because I'm going to pencil draw this. I'm not going to ink this because everything that I draw from here on, I'm going to put it in my next drawing book, my large, hopefully, it will be a bigger book, large drawing book. Anyway, I'm going to put everything in the drawing book. So I don't want to rush the ink. I want to take my time and add some good feathering, hatching, the whole 9 yards, and then ink it. So it'll be in the book whenever it comes out. So we have the shoulders going down into the delt. This arm is going back. This arm is going back. If you need to draw the oval, do that, and then you draw your cylinder, your cone. Don't worry, I'm going to get these shapes right. Coming out, again, it's going back. This cone is going back behind, cone. Oval's going back behind into the body, and the elbow kind of comes down to the belly button almost. But remember, this guy's leaning forward, so you just have to know your sizes. And also, your delt actually comes down more to the chest. But this right here, this was just, that was just your standard circle. Just remember that. It was halfway to the chest. But it comes down a little longer, a little lower. And again, we do my cone. And then chop that cone off where you want that wrist. And since it's aiming at you, pointing at you, you're going to have that opening like that. Now, if this is too far in, you can always bring it out more. Or you can just have one in, one out, both out. As I said, once you get the torso, the waist, and the hips right, start playing with it. Just draw a couple torsos, just maybe this way or another way, and then just add your arms and legs using your oval and your cone first. Don't try to put detail into it, just to see what kind of positions you can come up with, so that you too can have an arsenal of positions. And it's good to keep them. If you do something like that, keep them in a sketchbook or just your pad and get a little folder and put them all in. That way you can say, oh, you know what, this would be a good position for this battle or this character that I'm drawing. And you might say, well, I want to tilt them a little bit or whatever, but you already have the position. And then the hand. And remember what I was saying, this is flat, this comes up. So if I took my fingers and I just drew straight, it's gonna go right along the bottom. This is gonna cut in. So whenever you have your bottom part, unless you have them tilted down like that, and that's usually when you have a gun or a knife or something, you're gonna tilt down like that. Whenever you draw this bottom part, it goes straight and this goes up. So it's gonna come straight out, and this is gonna go up. For whenever you're holding or drawing a hand. And that they got me for the longest time. I just kept drawing my hands like this, like a hammer. And nobody was really saying it. I don't know how I learned it. I just wait a minute, I started looking at pictures and myself, and in the beginning when it was hard for me to draw a pose, I would just stand in the mirror and just look at it, look how my shoulder goes. I'm moving my shoulder and you can't see that. How my shoulder goes, or how my neck twists, or whatever. You might not be built like this, but I mean, you have shoulders, you have arms, so you should be able to at least halfway get that position where it's right. Look at your balance, the whole 9 yards. So from here, I'm going to put, anytime I do the square, I put my thumb where I want it, especially if it's aiming at me. And then just do my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then shape it out. Knuckle, higher knuckle, lower knuckle, and just remember it curves around like that. And if I need to, like this finger right here, that one is always, what am I doing? That one is you're always going to see this little extra piece here because it doesn't really tuck in unless you do something crazy, but it just looks better when you show that little extra piece sticking out right there. Maybe not that far, but yeah. And then curve that. And if I need to see some palm, I'll do that. And it's an easy, quick fist. You know, you can hold something in that fist. But realistically, as I said, if I'm holding something, these, instead of being flat, there's a camera, these pointy knuckles right here are going to be aiming at you. If I'm holding a gun, the gun is not going to, my hand is not going to be like that with the gun this way. I got to open my hand up to hold it, so these knuckles are going to be pointing at you. So in the case like this, you can just do this, since these knuckles are right here lined up like that. You have your square like this, you have your knuckles, and then you have that, and then you just have your line again. Except that one finger, we open it up, that one finger is, remember, this is going to be a little higher. That bend is going to be a little higher than the rest of the bends. So it doesn't matter how you turn the hand, it's going to be shaped like that. You can still always have that shadow below that. Is this camera focus? Is focus better now? So that's a quick way to do hands. And as I say, I'm going to do a video on hands. I just want to be able to have the video flow smoother than me saying, oh no, wait, let's do this. Oh wait, okay, try this. This will be better. And right now I'm looking for a pen to ink this. Why are you looking at those? This is the one. So what was I saying? Okay, you have my thumb, and you can put your thumb either straight down or you can bring it in. So your thumb goes up here, you're gonna have that bend, and then it goes into the palm, which is pushing against whatever you're holding. And you have the other part of the palm, and then you go, as I said, knuckle, higher knuckle, and it goes in, and then just your finger bend, finger bend, finger bend, and then finger bend. And this one's gonna go in. Remember that. These two are gonna go in at an angle. And then you make for a better hand. And whenever you grab something, this is flat. Whenever you grab something, this piece is gonna push out right there. So just kind of remember that. So if I didn't have a pipe, this is gonna push out just a little bit like that. Pipe or whatever's in his hand. But because I do have pipe, you won't see that. Just, you know, it's just for drawing purposes, drawing sake. And then you can put shadow there, put shadow under the thumb, put some shadow back here. It depends on your lighting. And then you have your fist, and then depending on how much that fist is pointing at you, remember the what was I saying? The oval. Use this. If it's like pointing right at you, you have just a little thin line, and then you have this part right here, the fat meaty part, and then you can have your bicep right here, some tricep. So it's gonna, whenever you do your arm, it's gonna connect to this bottom circle. It's not gonna be way up here. It's gonna connect. It's just like one piece, and then you have your delt. So just remember that. Wherever that circle ends, that line goes for that tricep. You got your bicep here. Tricep is going to be behind it. In this case, it goes out. So again, I'm just going to do a quick and kind of wrap this up like I just showed you. This little piece here, do my square, do that little thumb, do these 2, 3, and if I need to make it seem like the knuckles are pointing at you, put that line here or put that line there, or wherever these joints are pointed. It could be pointed in the middle, or got something pointed more in the middle, pointed more down the bottom. You won't see it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that hand video and shape this up a little bit. Same thing over here. Do my thumb, line, my line. Put the weapon of choice. You can have a sword, hammer. I just did, with this one, I just did something just randomly different, trying a different weapon. And because his arms were like going back, I put these and make this line, stretch that, and then made it into, it was the 3-sectional staff, but it's not a 3-sectional staff. It is a 1, 2, 4-sectional staff, some kind of different weapons. And with comics, you do that kind of stuff like this. Whether you're drawing a comic book or you're just doing character design, maybe you're designing a character for a game or something, these things help immensely, especially when you're doing your own type of, creating your own type of weapon. All right, so let me throw that head in here real quick. Now the head, this head is up. I can bring the head down a little bit more. Yeah, get this out of here. Get this out of here. Let's switch. This one is still halfway new for now. Here's my shoulders. And here is the base of that neck. I can bring that chin all the way down. You play with it. Let's use a pencil. Regular pencil. Number 2 pencil, actually. H2 pencil. Bring that head all the way down. I can lift that head all the way up, depending on how much that person is bending over. So that's why I just kind of play with the height of it. I'll just keep doing that oval until I get the right shape and the right distance between the neck and the shoulder. If it's too high up, I'll bring the neck in so you can see the neck. If not, I'll drop it down. So you just kind of play with it. And this camera is actually wanting to unfocus. Maybe I need more light. So anyway, you don't want your shoulders too wide. If you want a wide person with a wide shoulders, then you just kind of make that oval bigger. If you don't, you make that oval more narrower. Just remember, at this point where it comes in, it cuts across. Right where this point comes in, it cuts across, and then you have your delts right there. Then your arm comes in. So that's another thing, balance. You don't want to have one side longer than the other side. Something else that I kind of tend to do every now and then, but when I do a comic, then I'm serious about it. This is why you stop, you look, and you say, walk away, and you come back later and say to yourself, okay, that's not right. Let me fix that. So don't ever just draw ink and then go put it on Facebook, because people will see, some people will see it, and they won't be nice with the comments. Most people are like, oh, that's really good, that's really good. But then, if it's really messed up, you might get 1 or 2 people that are like, yeah, but your arm is crooked, and that just kills you, because when you put stuff up, what you really want is for people to say, oh, you're the greatest artist. We thrive off of that. We thrive off of, that, what is the word I'm trying to think of, that, oh, you're so good, you're so great, kind of whatever that word is. So yeah, that's going to be it for this. That's going to be it for this one. A lot of editing. Let me see if I missed something, I don't know. I don't think I did. All right, here we are with a quick ending. This is the final product for now, penciled. I didn't really use the right pencil, but I just wanted something darker so you can see. And in hindsight, I should never use the red. Should never have used the red if I'm going to pencil it. I should have stuck with the pencil. So that's going to be it. A little close-up. I'll give you guys a little more close-up so you can see some of the direction and detail that I was going in and doing. So that's going to be it. Stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you guys later, and keep drawing. Keep drawing. I know it's like 2 times I ended this video. All right. Later.